Today we are going to talk about the Golden Gate Master and discovers the secret of the Forbidden City's Lock Dragon Well. Without further ado, let's start the story. The earliest legend of the Dragon Lock well dates back to ancient times. It is said that Dayu went through many battles, finally subdued the flood dragon that caused floods, and locked it in a well. And this well is currently located on Yuzhou's West Street, outside the gate of Yu King Temple, on the east of Guzheng Street. There is a well that is the legendary Yu King's Well. The origin of the Gugong Locked Dragon Well is still related to Zhu Yuanzhang and Liu Bowen. It is said that after Zhu Yuanzhang settled in Nanjing, on a day in the palace, on the wall, two octopus-shaped golden dragons were fighting. That night, he had a dreamed of a white-haired old man claiming to be the Dragon King, who would send floods to punish Zhu Yuanzhang for his wars, and killed countless people. After Zhu Yuanzhang woke up, immediately told this matter, told Liu Bowen, who claimed to know 500 years, and 500 years after. After hearing this, Liu Bowen was not panicked, but immediately ordered people to dig and 8 nearby alleys. He dug 72 wells to set up the 72 earthly branches to suppress the golden dragon, to show the majesty of the emperor. Liu Bowen also caught a dragon and locked it, and dropped it into the well, to intimidate the Dragon King. Zhu Yuanzhang always wanted to move the capital to Chang'an, but he failed to do so. After his death, his fourth son Zhu Di seized power from Zhu Zhe. In 1420, he moved the capital to Beiping, and renovated Beijing City. During the renovation, for some reason, the 72 earthly branches was forced to. The dragon locked in the well took the chance to escape, and went to Beijing to flood it, and vented his anger. There was no way. Zhu Di had to invite Yao Guangxiao, who knew 3 religions, to lock the dragon again. They built a deep well on the Sea Eye of Suolang, built a deep well and tied a long chain. They built a 3-room temple on the wellhead. There was a statue of Yuefei in the temple. He also told the dragon that when the bridge saved you, you can come out. But he never thought that. The cunning Yao Guangxiao named the bridge Basin Bridge, which completely deprived the dragon of the chance to escape. On the night of July 7, 1937, Japanese troops stationed at Lugo Bridge, without notifying the local Chinese authorities, near the Chinese garrison positions, held a so-called military exercise, and falsely claimed that a Japanese soldier was missing, demanding to search Wanping County in the southwest of Peiping, which was sternly rejected by the Chinese garrison. The Japanese then attacked Wanping City and Lugo Bridge. This is the famous July 7th incident, also known as the Lugoqiao incident. After the Lugoqiao incident, the Japanese quickly occupied Beijing City, and began a process of crazy looting. But in this process, there were many figures of juju. Japanese sorcery originated from cultural exports of Tang Dynasty, during Emperor Taizu Wu's reign, with strong politics and economic prosperity, which provided conditions for vigorous trade. At that time, Japan sent Tang envoys. They brought back religious and academic knowledge, and learned feng shui and Taoist magic, and brought them back to Japan for development. Even regarded as the national art, Yin Chen Kaiji's movie The Legend of the Demon Cat, Japanese monk Kukai practiced supernatural powers. Later, I will also explain some stories of Chinese people who have achieved supernatural powers, such as the eminent monk Xu Yun, stories of Taoist priests like Zhang Shishun and Nan Huaijin. After Chinese calligraphy was honed in Japan, is mainly divided into 2 branches. One is the Onmyoji, one is the Juju faction. Some say the concept of the 9-bureau school comes from Shimen. Another says that one branch focuses on Kimen Dongjia, and the other focuses on astrology and geography. It is said that the Juju faction is also divided into 2, one majoring in the evil of Feng Shui, one majoring in Feng Shui, also known as the East Secret Evil Sect. I'll tell you more about it later. The tiny country has coveted China for a long time. Began the invasion of China, Juju faction has been doing things in secret, destroys Chinese Feng Shui, cut off the dragon vein, and stealing Chinese metaphysical secrets. The villain does the villain's deeds. They have done a lot of dirty things behind the scenes. The sorcerer of the Juju sect secretly investigated the secret of Longjing, and quickly used the army to impose martial law, and sent people to dig deep into the password of the lock. They captured Chinese civilians to do hard labor, and made them pull the chains of the dragon lock well up, but found that no matter how long they pulled, they couldn't reach the end. It wasn't until the 3rd well that there was movement. A large amount of yellow water gushed out, and among them, there was a faint rumbling sound, and strange roars. The matter has not been followed up. That night, the Japanese camp guarding the Dragon Lock well had a big problem. Overnight, the soldiers and the mages of the Bureau of 9 died. The deaths were quite strange, and the cause could not be found. It was a tense period of the war, so it could only be temporarily shelved to investigate the cause of their deaths. Later Japan was defeated. This matter could only be left unresolved. However, I know the truth of this matter. Because the protagonist of that incident that day was my master. I'll find a chance. I will write this story for everyone to see. I once thought that the dragon trapped under the Loch Dragon Well and the sin, but after my senior brother about his exploration of the Dragon Loch Well told me, I realized the truth was not simple. In 1958, it was the time of grains when grain was produced in large quantities. Exaggeration was prevalent everywhere. So everyone went to cut trees, burn charcoal, and smelt steel. But no one cared about farming and grain production. In winter, all over the country began. A great famine occurred, especially in rural areas, and people gradually starved to death. The situation was very miserable. There was a shortage of goods in Beijing, shortage of food and tight market. After 1959, the materials transferred to Beijing became less and less. There was a shortage of grain in stock to meet the 6-day demand. At that time, my eldest brother traveled around. He treated and saved people to accumulate his skills and to purify the past karma in the market. In Xinyang, Henan, he witnessed a horrific cannibalism case. Whenever I think of this story, I feel my chest ache and my eyes are sore. I will find a chance to tell you in detail. When he reached Beijing, my senior brother took a rest at a small restaurant. He ordered a bowl of fried noodles. The boss lady brought the noodles to the table. The master looked at him. Although his complexion was healthier than those in remote rural areas, but his complexion was a little green and yellow. But at that time, the senior brother didn't think much. He just thought it was caused by the grinding of the times and hopelessness in his heart. However, when he took a bite, he almost vomited out his stomach acid. After the Xinyang incident, he knew very well. The minced meat in the bowl was clearly human flesh. The eldest brother was puzzled. It was enough that this happened in a remote village. Why did this happen in Beijing? He immediately cast a hexagram and found that the source of all evil was in that Longjing well. The eldest brother was filled with grief and indignation, knowing that this might be the arrangement of fate and the end he deserved. To resolve the sins of the entire population, he decided to explore the mystery of the Loch Dragon Well. Just like life choices, going down is much easier than going up. Without spending 3 days and nights, he only spent a day and a half. He found something strange. The eldest brother once got a secret recipe. He got a secret recipe: collect some body parts of underwater animals and some herbs and alchemy to make a potion which could help him breathe underwater. Through the deep well water of Sulong Well, he found a dark cave. He looked up and saw the well water hanging above his head, separating the top from the cave. Everything on the ground has its own laws to avoid gravity and make water float in midair. This is absolutely impossible, but everything in front of him made him puzzled. Could it be that under this cave is not bound by physical laws? After thinking for a moment, the eldest brother had an idea. Unless this place is different from the water dome, is already in a different spatial dimension. Thinking of this, a deep and thick roar suddenly came from the depths of the cave, rumbling, like a wild horse galloping, or 1,000 troops marching. The eldest brother held his breath. He took steps towards the depth. He walked to a cliff. The view suddenly opened up. Below the cliff is a huge pit at a glance, and no end, nor the end. Countless huge golden chains are intertwined up and down, which seem to be trapping something in the pit. The chains are not real, but a mimicry formed by a certain formation. They are constantly flashing now, as if the power is exhausted. The eldest brother thought that the formation was failing, allowing this evil beast to perform evil magic. Just as he was about to reinforce the formation, he heard a deep shout. Wait! The eldest brother looked in the direction of the voice. Only saw some faint white light coming from the depths, but he couldn't see the true face. The voice continued, I have been locked up for nearly 600 years. Without complaint, could you please let me out for 50 years? I still have unfinished business in the world. I will come back in 50 years to continue my mission. It turns out that the real dragon was not locked for doing evil as people said. More than 20 years ago, Zhu Yuanzhang was still doing. They were like confidants. Saved his life. At that time, the land of China, there were frequent natural disasters and continuous wars. After Zhu Yuanzhang became emperor, to ensure the safety of the country and people, he granted the Chinese dragon Qi. The real dragon was voluntarily locked in the well. After moving the capital to Beijing, he kept his promise. It was moved to the bottom of Beisinqiao. The dragon also explained that the cave below don't conform to the rules on the ground, is because this is a passage in a different dimension. Below the cliff is the place where evil spirits live. In layman's terms, it is hell. To separate the evil spirits from the heroes, the real dragon used himself as bait and locked the entrance and exit of the passage. The eldest brother opened his third eye. He saw that the real dragon was telling the truth. If he hadn't restrained himself, the country would suffer greatly. but now the formation has been loose for years, which led to the invasion of evil spirits, thus causing famine, various disasters of the world. If it is not handled, over time, there will be a catastrophe. When the Japanese invaded China, Zhuge sect wanted to destroy the formation, to release evil spirits, and eroded the land of China, but they were stopped by the master. Now it is the cycle of nature. The formation is loosening under the people's loss of cognition. It's becoming more and more loose if we don't seek a way to stabilize it. The whole of China will be a scene of devastation, and corpses everywhere. The real dragon is born. There are two purposes. One is to fulfill an unfinished business with an old friend, and the second is to find the Dragon King for power, to stabilize the formation. The eldest brother was moved by the sincerity of the real dragon. He sacrificed his own lifespan. He set up the Vajra formation to replace the real dragon. He promised the dragon that he would come back here in 50 years. The real dragon was grateful, and left a scale to protect his senior brother. 50 years later, the real dragon kept his promise, returned to the Dragon Lock well, but this led to a series of events. This is the strange story I will tell you next time. The strange story that happened to the geological team. Strange story.